With its 120mm gun, Chobham armor, and Chrysler design, the Abrams has dominated tank warfare for over 35 years. It was in the 1990s that I remember reading Tom Clancy's loving praise of the M1 Abrams armored cav, in which he recounted that the unkillable tank was never destroyed by enemy fire. Abrams' 120mm guns easily shelled the turrets of T-72 tanks in the Gulf War, while Russian anti-tank missiles and 125mm shells could not penetrate the armor of American Chobham tanks. In fact, Abrams' own guns reportedly had difficulty penetrating Abrams' uranium armor. Since then, Abrams have become more and more involved in the war, and they have had to abandon their invincible reputation. During the U.S. invasion and occupation of Iraq, some of them were destroyed by massive EADs or RPGs in the vulnerable rear layers. Others were destroyed by advanced Russian-made anti-tank missiles, such as the At-14 Kornet. In the ongoing conflicts in Yemen and Iraq, dozens of Saudi and Iraqi-owned Abrams have been destroyed by such missiles. Abrams also has not invented modern tanks. In fact, Abrams is almost incomparable in its weight class, which is very heavy. Other vehicles such as the German Leopard 2, British Challenger 2, French Leclerc, and Israeli Merkava 4 have similar firepower and level of protection, although of course each of these types has its own advantages and disadvantages. However, most likely none of them has ever fired at Abrams, so it does not matter. For several decades, the most threatening potential opponent is the Russian T-90 tank, a vehicle that has a chance against Abrams, but has no equal. Russia's new T-14 Armata tank finally presents an equal challenge to the Abrams. Although the Abrams still appears to have a slight edge over conventional armor, the Armata compensates for this with a combination of explosive reactive armor and an advanced radar-guided Afghanite active protection system (APS) intended to shoot down incoming projectiles. The new T-14-2A82 125mm also has increased armor penetration, meaning Abrams' frontal armor may be vulnerable at shorter combat ranges of perhaps 1,500 meters or less. Although it is still a debate which tank is superior, both are clearly capable of destroying each other. The point is that Abrams can no longer assume the inferiority of opposing tanks. During the U.S. invasion and occupation of Iraq, which involved trillions of military operations in urban terrain, the Tank Urban Survival Kit (TUSK) was immediately used with a number of improvements to overcome potential ambushes from all directions. Many of those upgrades have been standardized on the newer Abrams, including the belly armor upgrade, crew remotely operated weapons station (CROWS), essentially a caliber machine gun .50 that is remotely controlled so that the crew is not exposed while firing, and adding to the explosive reactive armor (ERA) on the vulnerable side of the turret. The U.S. Army had long avoided the ERA as it could injure nearby Allied infantry and could burn out. However, it served as a relatively light and inexpensive means of protecting Abrams' vulnerable side armor from hidden enemy rocket-propelled grenade teams. The latest Abrams variant is an upgrade package that is the M1A2 SEPv3. Many of its features are more practical than sexy. An upgraded computer and a new auxiliary power unit (APU) that allows Abrams to keep its advanced systems running when the engine is off, thus improving the fuel efficiency of Abrams' famously thirsty turbine engines. Maintenance is improved with replaceable modular cables. There are some deadly upgrades, especially data links to connect with advanced programmable multipurpose air blast shells. This would allow the Abrams main weapon to fire high explosive shells that explode just above enemy troops, and hiding a capability expected to counter enemy anti-tank missile teams. Other blast modes, including those optimized to penetrate walls, are also available. An improved front-view infrared FLIR sensor will improve the detection capability and accuracy of Abrams' main weapon. A revised remote-controlled machine gun with a lower profile also features an improved camera. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, the M1 uranium armored package has been upgraded. How much, you ask? The Department of Defense will definitely not tell about it. However, ERA does not appear in the default package. A jammer to disable wireless EADs has also been installed.